Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to tackle one of life's biggest questions, and we'll do it using a really simple slide framework to break it all down. All right, let's jump right in. What truly makes a good life? I mean, this is a question that people have been wrestling with forever, right? Philosophers, psychologists, everyone. Is it really just about feeling good and avoiding the bad stuff, or is there something more to it? Well, as you're about to see, it's definitely a lot more complex than that. So, take a look at this story about Dolores. It's a fascinating thought experiment. She's been in a lot of chronic pain, but then it gets dramatically reduced. Now, here's the crazy part. She's still technically in more pain than she feels pleasure, a negative balance. And yet, she's super happy about it. Why? Well, because her overall suffering went way down. This just completely flips the script on the idea that happiness is just about piling up good moments. It tells us that the direction you're moving in matters a lot. And this is where we get into two really core ideas about well-being. On one hand, you've got hedonic well-being. Think of this as the feel-good life. It's all about pleasure, positive vibes, and just avoiding pain. But then, on the other hand, there's eudaimonic well-being. This is the meaningful life. It's about purpose, growing as a person, really flourishing. And here's the thing, a genuinely good life, it's not an either-or situation. It's all about how you blend the two. Okay, so to really unpack this, we're going to use a super simple framework in this explainer. We're going to look at three core building blocks of a good life. First, your inner world. Second, your actions and goals. And finally, your outer world. Simple, right? All right, section 1. Let's really pin this down. What is the good life? And as we've already hinted, it goes way beyond just chasing those fleeting moments of pleasure. Okay, that brings us to our very first building block, your inner world. You can think of this as the absolute foundation of your well-being. It's all about how your own mindset, your personality, how that sets the stage for pretty much everything else in your life. So, what are we talking about when we say internal factors? Well, research points again and again to a few big ones. Things like high self-esteem, which kind of acts like a psychological immune system. Then there's optimism, how you frame the good and the bad. Gratitude is huge. It literally shifts your focus to what's going right. And even a trait like extroversion can be a factor, since it pushes you towards social connection. The key here is that these aren't just random quirks. They are real, active drivers of how good you feel. But look, having a solid inner world is just the starting point, right? So that leads us to building block number 2, what you actually build on that foundation. We're talking about your actions and goals. Because, let's be honest, it's not enough to just think or feel a certain way. What you actively do, that's where the meaning really comes from. And a huge concept here is something called flow. You've probably felt this before. It's that magical state where you are just completely lost in an activity. Time just melts away, you're totally focused, and the act of doing the thing is its own reward. It is literally the sweet spot between boredom and anxiety. And the best part is, this isn't random. You can actually create this state. Flow kicks in when a task is just challenging enough to keep you on your toes, but not so hard that you get frustrated or overwhelmed. It's that perfect balance point where your skills are being stretched just right. That's what leads to that incredible feeling of total absorption. But it's not just what you're doing that matters, it's also why you're doing it. And the research on this is so clear. There's a huge difference between our goals. When you pursue intrinsic goals, things that are meaningful to you personally, like getting better at a skill or building strong relationships, that directly juices your well-being. But chasing extrinsic goals, like money, fame, or status, well, the effect is way weaker. Sometimes it can even backfire. Okay, so we've got our inner world and our actions. But of course, none of us live in a bubble, right? And that brings us to our third and final building block, your outer world. This is all about how your environment, everything from your bank account to your best friends, has a massive impact on how you experience life. And when we talk about our outer world, what's the first thing most people think of? Money. So let's ask the question, does a wealthier country automatically mean happier people? It seems like it should, right? Well, not so fast. The data shows us something really fascinating called the Easterland paradox. It's a bit of a puzzle. See, within any single country, richer people do tend to be happier than poorer people. But when you look at the country as a whole over time, as it gets richer, the average happiness level often just stays flat. It seems like once our basic needs are met, more money for the nation doesn't equal more happiness for its people. So if it's not just about the money, then what is it? Well, what about our relationships? Some researchers tried to actually quantify this, and what they found is, honestly, it's staggering. Get this, the quality of your connections, your friends, your family, your community, can explain up to 70% of the difference in personal happiness between people. 70%. That's a huge number. It really suggests that connection, not cash, is one of the absolute cornerstones of a good life. All right, so let's put it all together. Let's bring all three of these building blocks into view and see what the big picture looks like. So here's the real takeaway. A high quality of life, a good life, isn't about getting just one of these things right. It's not just about having a positive mindset, or just having meaningful goals, or just being in a good situation. It is all about the dynamic interplay between all three: your inner world, your purposeful actions, and your outer world. They all feed into each other and they all support each other. That's what builds a life where you're truly flourishing. And so that leaves us with one final thought, a question for you to take away from this whole explainer. When you look at your own life, which of these three building blocks needs the most attention right now? Is it your inner world, your actions and goals, or your outer world? Just thinking about that might be the first step to building an even better life.